There comes a moment, quiet yet thunderous, when the universe does not whisper, but warns. The 30th of June was not just another date on the calendar. It was a mirror held up to our lives, a moment for reflection, confrontation, and realignment. Too many drifting through days without purpose, letting time slip through their fingers like water. They wait for change, wait for a sign, but the warning is already here. It is in the tension in your chest, when you know you're not living in alignment. It's in the emptiness you feel after chasing comfort instead of challenge. It is in the silence after the excuses, when nothing is left but the truth. What have you been postponing? What part of yourself have you silenced? The world does not owe you transformation. You owe it to yourself. Your potential is not guaranteed. It demands discipline. It demands stillness. It demands the courage to look inside and strip away the lies you've told yourself. This is not about fear. This is about awakening. The discomfort you feel, that is the seed of your growth. The hardship you face, that is the sharpening of your blade. The storm around you, that is your training ground. But you must choose. Will you walk through your life asleep, or will you rise, rooted, awake, and unshakable? Life is not a rehearsal. Every breath is a blessing, but also a responsibility. And every day you ignore that call, you drift further from who you could become. Return to yourself. Breathe with intention. Move with clarity. Speak only when your words carry truth. Live in a way that your very presence becomes your message. There is no more time to waste. The warning has come. Now what will you do? There is a moment when silence becomes louder than noise, when life no longer speaks in gentle whispers, but in sharp, undeniable signals. For many, June 30th was not a date but a message, a wake-up call disguised as ordinary time. But nothing about it was ordinary. It was the kind of moment that demands presence, awareness, and honesty. Because whether we see it or not, the warning is already here. Not in the sky, not in the future, but within. It shows itself in subtle ways. In the restlessness before sleep. In the ache that comes from doing things that no longer nourish the soul. In the sigh after another day lived on autopilot. The warning doesn't always shout. Often it's quiet. A tension in the body, a heaviness in the heart, a look in the mirror. When you realize you've been performing life, not living it, we become good at pretending, telling ourselves that tomorrow is the day we'll begin, that the life we want will arrive when things get easier. But time doesn't negotiate, it keeps moving, and so do the consequences of our neglect. The pain of ignoring the truth compounds. When we drift from discipline, we feel the slow erosion of purpose. When we avoid challenge, we deny ourselves the power we were born to realize. The body knows, the mind knows. But do we listen? This is not about fear. This is about recognition. Recognition that every moment you delay your growth, you're making a choice, not just to stay the same, but to become someone further away from who you were meant to be. And life will reflect that choice. You'll see it in your energy, your relationships, your sense of meaning. Everything starts to dim when you deny the light inside. So the warning isn't punishment, it's grace. It's the chance to return, to stop, to listen, to ask the question, am I truly living in alignment with what I know I'm capable of? Not what others expect, not what is easy, but what is true. The discomfort you feel in stillness, that's not something to escape, it's something to explore. It's showing you where the work is, where you're hiding, where you're holding on to patterns that no longer serve you. Patterns of delay, of distraction, of denial. You don't need chaos to be distracted. Even a quiet, organized life can be a form of escape if it's built on routine rather than intention. The warning is there when your life looks fine on the outside, but something inside you feels unfinished, unseen, unused, and if you don't listen, life will speak louder through unexpected challenges, through broken connections, through burnout. Not because life is cruel, but because it refuses to let you settle. The same force that created you doesn't want you asleep, it wants you awake, sharpened, alive. That's why discomfort is a gift. It pushes you back to yourself. It reminds you that comfort is not the same as peace, and ease is not the same as growth. This world will give you every excuse to settle, but the warning tells you, settling is not safety. It is slow decay. You were not made for that. You were made for discipline, not the kind imposed from the outside, but the kind born from inner commitment, a quiet but powerful promise to yourself. I will not waste this life. I will not sleep through it. I will not trade my potential for comfort. That promise begins the moment you stop waiting for a better time to be who you already know you are. Because the truth is simple. You already know. You know where you're holding back. You know what needs to change. The real question is whether you'll act, whether you'll honor the warning and rise, or silence it again and drift further. Every breath is a decision. Every step is a direction. The path is there, but it only begins when you do. The choice is yours. We live in a time where comfort is sold as the highest goal. A life without stress, without effort, without friction. That's what many are taught to desire. But what if that comfort is the very thing keeping you from becoming who you were meant to be? What if every step away from discomfort is a step away from your strengths? Discipline is not a punishment, it's a path, a way to return to yourself. And yet, how often do we avoid it? We say, I'll start tomorrow, or I'm too tired, and we reach for distraction. Something easy, something that doesn't ask much of us. But what comes easy rarely brings growth, and what demands discipline often brings clarity, direction, and freedom. You must understand this. Comfort is not peace. Real peace is earned through effort, not escape. It's found on the other side of discipline, where the body and the mind are aligned through conscious action. When you say you want transformation, what you're truly saying is that you are ready to let go of ease and take on responsibility. Responsibility for your thoughts, your actions, and your path forward. Discipline is not glamorous. It shows up in the early morning silence, in the repetition of daily practice, in choosing what's necessary over what's enjoyable. And most won't see it. Most won't understand it. But you don't train for applause. You train because you've awakened to the truth that without discipline, potential dies. It's easy to talk about growth. It's easy to dream about strengths, but the path to both is paved with effort. Not once, not for a season, but every single day. And there will be no grand signs, no cheering crowd, just the question. Will you show up? Will you stay committed even when no one's watching? Because discipline is not about motivation. Motivation fades. It comes and goes like the wind. Discipline is what remains when the mood disappears. It's the internal agreement you've made, not with others, but with yourself, to stay on the path, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Without discipline, we drift, and drifting leads us further into a life shaped by chance, instead of choice. But when you commit to discipline, you begin to shape yourself. You sharpen your mind, strengthen your body, and anchor your spirit. Each small act of discipline becomes a thread in the fabric of your character, and there will be resistance. That resistance is part of the path. You will be tempted by comfort, by laziness, by doubt. But every time you choose discipline over ease, you reclaim a part of your power. You remind yourself that you are not here to live below your potential. You are here to live fully, to rise steadily, to carry the weight of your calling with grace. Let others chase what is quick. Let others seek shortcuts. You choose the long path, the honest path, the one that demands everything from you and gives back even more. Because what you build through discipline, no one can take from you. It becomes who you are. Remember, growth does not come from what you want to do. It comes from what you are willing to do, even when you don't feel like it. It's not the easy repetitions that change you. It's the ones you do when you're tired, when you doubt, when everything in you wants to stop. That's when the shift happens. That's when the old self begins to fade and the new self takes root. You must understand, discipline is not restriction, it's liberation. It frees you from the grip of impulse. It frees you from the weakness of indecision. It gives you the structure you need to